Sonye Jonan La Janjo Bandon Dane Ganzo Je Dhargye Chegyuran Gibe Raijo Chedan Sonye Jonan La Janjo Bandon Dane Ganzo Je Dhargye Chegyuran Gibe Sonan Dolan Benje Sanjen Dobaraijo Dhargye Chonan La Janjo Bandon Dane Ganzo Je Dhargye Chegyuran Gibe Sonan Dolan Benje Sanjen Dobaraijo Let me remind every one of ourselves to take a moment and cultivate bodhicitta motivation or the altruistic motivation seeking complete enlightenment for the benefit of all other sentient beings. And with that kind of at least contrived altruistic bodhicitta motivation, that we should participate in this discourse on mind training or thought transformation. Allow me to read a couple of pages from Mind Training Like the Rays of the Sun to give you the blessing of lineage oral transmission followed by explanation.
that the Shunzo the Tereka, Kizini had Sajita, and don't we allow to any Loju the Beshawa Shevas. In Damamusha, Tatango that Tumu, Chewa Tumu, Sheva, Tumu, maybe Chewa Sheva Yinshi. Tanda did that was a Tumu, Chewa Shia, or Tika do Legaris.
Those of you who got mind training like the rays of the sun, English translation in your hand, Geshe read from the middle of page 13 to page 16 to give us the blessing of lineage oral transmission, and now we are back to page 13 where we left off last week. Just to recapitulate some of the important outlines, as I mentioned to you before, that we already talked about a little bit of historical backdrop to this mind training discourse, and then I also told you that qualities of the authors and the discourse are presented, and in terms of the qualities of the discourse, we have what is called common qualities and uncommon. So we are talking about the common qualities still here, and then later what we'll find is the actual discourse or the presentation of the text.
Oh, this is the Chava Denzon of Kaderis and not teach you work, Horsa. In the Loju, Maju, the Loju, the Maju, the Tontelia, any Loju said to do what Tinyam to that. The number good and the Roman the Pondo talk the Topatun, the Dendro Shawa to the share of the zone, and the church Shawa share was over, but sure the Nyasalani. In the consult of the Topacham to Winza, and teach the church show us, the Loju Chiva, the church show us, two us, the Yamdojam to share this.
What we find in this mind training like the rays of the sun is this, that as we go through the brief historical backdrop of the lineage masters of this mind training discourse or the tradition, Lojong in Tibetan thought transformation. So we have dealt with a number of key masters, the figures of mind training discourse, and we deal with how each of them maybe taught hundreds of amazing disciples, and among them there are some outstanding ones who contributed much to the mind training discourse, and they are not only highly erudite scholars but also highly realized masters. So when we talk about these realized scholars, the Tibetan term is Ke Drup. Ke means learned and Drupa means realized. So we are also implicitly dealing with the features or the qualities of the discourse itself. In other words, that these masters have not only studied this mind training system of the tradition, but they have also practiced and cultivated mind training, and they have gained high realizations. So their realizations are extension of, if you will, the features or the qualities of this mind training discourse.
This is the shadow of that Lord, because Shadows, the Chego and the shadow of the Tunis, the Menga said, because the Lord Gypsy in the Drivaning Bunzen. And Lord Gypsy Drivaning Bunzen shows you some good Nahiam told Tony. And they told Tony, and that deal just here, she had a great one. So the Pagi says, Karsa. So I said to Tony says, and he couldn't tell me, they get to get the job in Yamara, she not be that. Cello does in any Karsa, name is so drivaning Busheni. In terms of that that Piece the Tata Yamdo, Devonda, Samas the Yamdolia, Nies, the Kalish with Jais, the Kalish with Jai, and the Shalism took you chosen, the Kali Java, Jago Sheshas, that you don't have
So where we left off last week, as you may recall, that great Kadamba master Bodhisattva Chekava, he went in search of the mind training discourse, and so finally he was able to receive the complete discourse on mind training from the great Kadamba Geshe Sharava. And as a matter of fact, he spent 14 long years with this master and studied everything about mind training or thought transformation. Not only he studied it meticulously, but he also dedicated himself, to developing mind training or bodhicitta in his mind. And so he went through so many hardships, that he wasn't, in a very comfortable, luxurious conditions. As a matter of fact, he was living a very simple and kind of poor lifestyle. And oftentimes he would end up sleeping in the stables with the horses. I said, this is how I, worked so hard to study mind training and to put it into practice. And through that kind of, study and practice of mind training, that finally he was able to experience mind bodhicitta in his mind, and he felt so delighted about that. So pretty much he rejoiced his own fortune and his own dedication to the practice. He said, even if I feel the whole location with the gold and offered it, it wouldn't still match the value and pricelessness of this bodhicitta mind I have developed.
Ini chega chebul ta jenra de verse loma sananda namdo thoni ye chaba gujala de nang ne stati loma mobo yara ka tiba shebu ka je ya shangji sim jo jang ge chong ti na dai cha de de ti mu da nang ne chose ne ju shang sin she ren za ra gi ne ju shang ye phalum ji khemba ten dar Laba tamje chamba, it's a Japan tamba. Ramba ladin bashembo. Yami Javasila soba, so draw to me, Gonja di Churba. Mondu, so Stakaja, that send me to get Sibed Kaji. Toda the Yanji, the Gujala, Judan, the Odina, that's all the word he shows did that. Told me did it shows us. Cheva did. Cheba du Sicil Pubel Logizag Padu, Londa, Luda Chemashen, Dene, Shonda, Danga Yonsubas, near the Pumba Constitute, Husos, that Tadotina and Ya in the Demida. And Sejibu and that sound direction zero. I think Logis. And the Chevaling in the Shanghai Dava Yonzo, Puma Constitution, December, yes?
So the great Kadamba master Bodhisattva Chekava, and he himself, genuinely cultivated and experienced bodhicitta mind, and so he, had as many as over 900 disciples or followers, and among them, few stood out, and their names are listed here, and which include in the great yogi Changsen of Troza, the great meditator Changye from Rensarab, and then the king Parondar of Balam, and the all-knowing master Loba, and Gyabang Sathangpa, the great teacher Rambal Handingpa, the unequal master Gyaltsen, and many others. And so these become very outstanding disciples again who made great contributions to the mind training system and tradition. And among them, in particular, Se Chibuba spent 21 years next to Geshe Chegawa, almost like he followed him like the shadow of his body, and he received everything about, again, the mind training teaching from Chegawa, just like like a nectar poured from one vase into the other vase completely. And so he also became an embodiment of mind training lineage.
Papa Shawale, Shonga Tembe, Shanju Simjonge. Shanju Sim Danga de Ti Loso, the Shego Las. The Jerebo Shag Dino Danga Chida, Shanju Simjo Danga, Disina Shagawa did, and Juju da take Juju Deso do Seta Dina di Shanju Simjo Damba Gagana, shorty Shivadodi. Seen in the tissue or is what did sure says they that Delis Garza. The Divaji didn't touch it, shooks it. Then the last year will look on to the Kuro Tombo sense that he said. That didn't change our use over Gadino. That Rabala Dima give us a Dutch door. You are not need to get so much of a years or told me some big Zavies, told me. Namje Shemo. Tinigi say to Lord of Ship, Jojo Bezang, singer tops. Or did it? That also told him, and now Yeshua say that the DJ is over. You told me some was here, no hitch. But didn't I give in it? Did that the deacon talks to Skarsa? Say to show Lord of Jojo Bezang said, the Jeremy Lava Loman, get a share, the top songs. That Latin was the Lama Kayibu, Tinema German, Tonduma Nyamji, to Lada Chivi, Dendeba Tamogo Jabel and number 2, Jet, Tonga, Taji, she the Shabu, and Shaju Simjo looks also on Jenang, check our Lojun the Papa Shawali, Shonal Tembi. Shouju Simjo get Danga, Danga, the Noe, the deal of the sheep were lost. What did it that? Danda, Jeremusha, that Gibakayi, Jeremusha, Yukai, the Lama, Konjukuran, Gibamida, Soms Matthew, what is in that? Con the Jeremusha, any Danga Ganga Jane, she was some dread of shot or one. What the Ganga, anything she study, Loju, reminds my red. So we are towards the bottom of page 13, where
the author of Mind Training Like the Rays of the Sun, now he kind of tells us about from whom he has received different lineages of mind training tradition or Lojong. And here he says at the bottom of page 13 that he was very fortunate to have received the mind training tradition that was passed down by Se Chibuba to Lhachenpo Lungi Wangchu and so on, and to the great master Shakya Sonam Gyeltsen Pesangbo. So it's from this master, the author of this text received that particular lineage of mind training or thought transformation. And then he also received other lineages of mind training, such as, the one came from Rambal Handingpa, that has to do with the 7-point mind training explanation provided by the great Bodhisattva, Thongme Sangpo. And he received that from his disciple, the great translator, Gyabcho Pesang. Gyabcho Pesang was one of the great masters of Lama Tsongkhapa, And so there are many, lineages of mind training system of the tradition. And as I think I mentioned probably 3 prominent ones, and all of them somehow got integrated, at the time of Manjushri Lama Tsongkhapa in the 14th century. And so Lama Tsongkhapa said that among all kinds of mind training traditions, the one that is associated with the great Bodhisattva Chekawa is the prominent one. And the Chekawa's 7-point mind training text was benefited, if you will, by the work of great Bodhisattva Mahasattva Shantideva. Like Shantideva in his Guide to Bodhisattva's Way of Life, really talks about equalizing and exchanging self for others. And so that is a very, significant mind training text. And so of all kinds of mind training practices, the one that is associated with lineage with Geshe Chekawa is regarded as the most kind of important one. So in short, that author of this text, he received this teaching and others from Lama Tsongkhapa, and Lama Tsongkhapa received all other lineages, and he integrated them together. So there are many, if you say, types of Lojong texts or mind training texts, such as 8 verses mind training, Lojong Sikyema, such as Lojong Gyazarma, like 100 texts of mind training, collected works of 100 texts mind training. And among them, the most kind of prominent one is the 7-point mind training by the great Kadamba master Bodhisattva Chekawa. And when we look at the Chekawa's text, it seems like originally, the order in which it was composed or was passed down, it got mixed up somewhere, And Lama Tsongkhapa, he kind of put them all in the right order, presentation, and so based upon that, how should I say, shall we say, edited version or the revised, version of 7-point mind training, Lama Tsongkhapa gave a discourse on it. Yes.
No, that thing is the because the Giver Bajeva could never show tomorrow. She was said, Look at those jewels, the tomorrow said the Kaji, killing the sons of Sanji, Sunzi Ganga. Kaji did yours, Danzin, the DJs, doors. Said the teller that, shall you send to me, you not to the end, then you go anyway, Tavato doors. Shall you send me then tell ya, Tibashim, tell ya, Tibashim will positive and the debut by Nis to the young boys. The Chidang with us on you soon pay on the Majava. Tata the Niba did it, shall just some Korangi, pay on two more materials.
So we are in the middle of page 14 of mind training like the rays of the sun. And so earlier I mentioned that this text is presented under a number of outlines. And I said common qualities of the discourse and uncommon qualities of the discourse. To clarify those two outlines, common qualities of the discourse pertains to how Shakyamuni Buddha presented his discourse. As you know, that Shakyamuni Buddha taught discourses according to the mental dispositions and capacities of different beings. For example, Buddha gave discourse on selflessness, and particularly for those who are geared towards finding their personal liberation or nirvana from samsara. In other words, hearers, Sharvakas, and solitary realizers, Pratika Buddhas, their goal or aspiration is to be free from samsara. And to be free from samsara, what one must cultivate is the understanding and realization of selflessness. So Buddha taught that kind of a discourse for them. So that would definitely counteract one's grasping at intrinsic self. And then Buddha gave other kind of discourse geared towards those who aspire for Buddhahood or complete enlightenment. And so in this particular discourse, bodhicitta, or the mind of enlightenment, takes center stage. And so bodhicitta is an antidote to self-centeredness, selfishness, self-cherishing attitude. So within that particular discourse we call Mahayana, or great vehicle discourse, we can talk about the causal vehicle of wisdom gone beyond, or perfection of wisdom, Pranjana Paramita vehicle, where causes are laid out, what you must create to be able to be enlightened. And then there is a resultant vehicle of Tantrayana or Mantrayana or Vajrayana, where you can imagine and visualize the resultant states into the path right now as you practice it. So so that's the kind of distinction. So Buddha taught all those kinds of discourses, and they have their own distinguishing features and qualities. So those are the common qualities of Buddha's discourse. And now we're going to move into uncommon qualities of the discourse, meaning mind training or thought transformation. And in the middle of page 14, you can see the big caption reads, "The unique features, value, and extraordinary function of the secret instruction." So what is this unique features or qualities of this particular secret instruction of the mind training or lojong, thought transformation. As you know, Buddha taught different discourses, and engaging in any kind of discourse practice, we could create a lot of positive actions or merits, and these merits will yield their own positive outcomes, no doubt about that. Those who would like to be free from samsara, they can create a lot of merit, and then they can focus on realizing selflessness, and then that will lead them to freedom from samsara. Or that anybody out of some good motivation create any positive action, such as practice generosity or giving, you create a lot of good karma. But that being said, we do face a lot of challenges and obstacles on our way, on our spiritual journey, so to speak, that really kind of impedes our spiritual development. So we really need a way to deal with these obstacles and challenges. And this particular discourse really provides us the meditational techniques to do that. And its unique features include how to transform adverse factors and conditions into favorable conditions or conducive conditions on the path to enlightenment. So if we can really learn those techniques, like as we learn about equalize, definitely includes how can we even transform obstacles into the path, conducive factors for enlightenment. So from that perspective, there's nothing that can stop us from our spiritual achievement, isn't it? Of course, favorable conditions always help us to grow spiritually, but even the unfavorable conditions can't do much because we can transform them, change them into favorable conditions. So therefore, that is among the unique features or the qualities of this secret mind training instruction or tradition. So in the middle of page 14, the text says, I quote, "You should understand the significance of this instruction as like a diamond, the sun, and a medicinal tree. This time of the 5 degenerations will then be transformed into the path to the fully awakened state," unquote. So as Geshe explained, that if we have have a whole diamond, actually it's not any kind of diamond, the Tibetan word is Dhargye palam, it is the rarest and the most valuable diamond. If you have the whole diamond, of course it's priceless, but even if you have a broken piece of that diamond, it's still very valuable. It can outshine all other kinds of jewelry, if you will. It can outshine the gold or other things. In the same way, through this kind of secret instruction or the mind training discourse, if we could develop bodhicitta with this priceless, diamond-like bodhicitta mind, even if we engage in a small action, that action becomes a tremendously powerful and wholesome action. We don't have to engage in too many extensive actions, Just simply engaging in a very small action, because of the bodhicitta, it becomes so significant that it can outshine, the bodhicitta can outshine the realizations of even the arhats, or those who have attained liberation following the paths of healers and solitary realizers. They have amazing realizations, but bodhicitta can't outdo all of their realizations. So that's a unique feature of bodhicitta instruction. And other metaphors, examples given to illustrate the unique power of bodhicitta that could be developed through the mind training practice and system are, it's likened to the sun. You know, when the sun shines, it dispels darkness, isn't it? Darkness cannot overcome sun. Sun actually overcomes or dispels darkness. So bodhicitta is as powerful like a solar disk. And it's just like a medicinal tree. You know, medicinal tree, of course, it produces you know, medicinal fruits which could be used or develop medicines. But not only the fruits, but actually the plant, the bark, you know, the skin of the tree, and the leaves. All of those could be used as you know, part of preparing medicine. So just like that, actual bodhicitta practice is of course powerful like the medicinal fruits. But even the auxiliary practices that go with that are just like the leaves and the branches of the medicinal tree are also very useful to deal with our you know, self-cherishing attitude. And so here it says, so this kind of mind training instructions is particularly effective at the time of 5 degenerations. You know, the Tibetan term is called Nyingma Nga, and it's very hard to translate in English, and we call it 5 dregs, 5 degenerations, and so forth. So anyway, what are the 5 degenerations? So 5 degenerations are what we call degenerated time. Okay, actually, I think it seems like we're living through this, you know, because of coronavirus, we are all isolated, you know, and our freedom is restricted, and we couldn't do so many things. So it's part of that degenerated time that you know, so many obstacles you know, kind of manifest, and they have to deal with that. Degenerated lifespan, where relatively speaking, that you know, lifespan has been decreasing, you know, and people tend to live you know, a less healthy life, and you know, seems to die, you know, sooner than later, and this is all part of degenerated you know, lifespan, Tsenyingma in Tibetan. Then there is the Senjin Nyingma. I think degenerated sentient beings doesn't sound right in English, but the meaning is that sentient beings at this time seem to be more misbehaving, isn't it? Engage in more misbehaviors or the wrong behaviors than the right ones. Then there is what we call again, degenerate delusions doesn't work, which is a good thing, degenerate. But delusions at this time become dregs of delusions, some to work better, are very rampant. Delusions are more in number and they are more forceful experience at this time. And then the last one is the dregs related to the resources. Resources seem to be plentiful, but they don't seem to sustain our life, isn't it? It's just like you take medicine doesn't have effective power. You eat food, it doesn't have nutrition, and Geshe used the word tsamba, the roasted Tibetan barley flour, it doesn't seem to last, it doesn't seem to provide you much nutrition. So like that, so these are the 5 dregs or the degenerations, and at such difficult times, mind training discourse and practice become very powerful practice. Yes. So we are on page 14, the last paragraph, where it is stated that if one has cultivated awakening mind or bodhicitta mind, and even if one doesn't engage in many beneficial activities, by the power of this mind, even a little bit of activity or action that you undertake becomes so effective and powerful that it will outdo the qualities of even realized hearers and solitary realizers. Now, even in terms of those who have followed the paths of hearers and solitary realizers, they have attained complete freedom from samsara. So what's good about that is they are no more in samsara, no more samsaric headaches and suffering, but then it's just them who got liberated, isn't it? And moreover, they have not attained yet enlightenment. As a matter of fact, it might take them much longer time to be Buddha, having followed the paths of solitary realizers and hearers to nirvana, isn't it? So it is said in the ornament of Mahayana Sutra, Sutra Alamkara or Dodegen in Tibetan, that what bodhisattvas are really scared of is developing any kind of self-centeredness. What bodhisattvas feel is, they make every effort to cultivate bodhicitta. Maybe they will take tantric empowerments, maybe they break their commitments and they might be reborn in the worst kind of states of rebirth and suffer for eons. Once when they get out of that, it seems it's faster for them to be enlightened than follow the path that leads to personal nirvana, and then you follow the way to enlightenment. That takes much longer time. So for bodhisattvas, the greatest challenge and obstacle on that path they regard is selfishness, self-centered attitude, not so much in sometimes breaking their commitments, because commitment breaking can lead you to bad rebirths, and then once you come out, you can still, so to speak, smooth sailing to enlightenment once you're on the right track,
Well, this is that the image was Ling the Mumba Mumbai Kaba Shibi, Name, Kame, Jendi, one Shibi, Shanju Sim Jung. Double Yonzo took you to Shong Shaggy than you took you to Nayam. Dazim, Demu Mariba, T. Chang Base, Sin Ziso, Yumu, Yumu, because Muna name, Kame dos. Oh dear, that is Shanju Sim did it. And most dead the Shanju Sim Dangzin to know Amara. Because Shanto when you give me shitting you such a message now. Shanju Sim, you know, and think about that Yonde Gangati Tani. Leongorwa, Injishimudi, so this said, Damedo, what the Ganga Tang is on. Take a shiny any Dangzin that Jinzi Ganga and the Mary of this. We showed you some corner Dagans, shown the shit as the corner Katula, and then Dangzin Yamuri Omarwa.
No.
What did it? Teasing us. Did it? Dangzin that Ranji did Yamudi, that the Dangzin Yamu the river Marti, she in the unity or what?
So we're on top of page 15, where it is explained that even though bodhicitta or the awakened mind itself is not an antidote, direct antidote to self-grasping or grasping as intrinsic self, as Geshe quoted from his memory, benevolent attitudes such as love and compassion are not direct antidotes to self-grasping. So the antidote to self-grasping or grasping an intrinsic self is the wisdom realizing selflessness or emptiness. Okay? But that being said, if we cultivate bodhicitta, you know, it, how should I say, inspires us and it induces in us many other qualities. It helps us to, of course, we have to have great compassion to have bodhicitta, and bodhicitta will also help us to be, to seek wisdom realizing selflessness. Yeah. So from that point of view, bodhicitta indirectly helps us to counteract a self-grasping attitude. As you know that bodhicitta is a direct antidote to selfishness, self-centeredness. It's not a direct antidote to self-grasping. Direct antidote to self-grasping is the wisdom realizing selflessness. Nonetheless, bodhicitta inspires us to be able to develop, realization of selflessness, and so therefore, bodhicitta seems to be a panacea for all kinds of things. It helps us to deal directly with selfishness. It indirectly helps us to cultivate insight into selflessness that directly counteracts self-grasping.
What is the man? When is the man doing? The man Amara did go Jibutan to you go. In the man for a Shindo Horanshi, any Shindo Loma, the Jew cook has a shaggy Kane in Alia, nail dead that penguin. What you said, she was a patient, she will call Amati to pay the petty. And the chodo that the only going to shaggy the reggae any shoe penguins, tickets.
So we're still on top of page 15. As we mentioned earlier, that bodhicitta is likened to a medicinal, plant. And as we said, we grow medicinal plants so that they will bring their fruits. And actually, the medicinal fruits are the ones we prepare actual medicines. But that being said, the leaves and the branches and the bark of the tree could also sometimes help us to deal with certain sicknesses. So in the same way, if we could practice the entire bodhicitta discourse, or that is like using everything medicinal plant has to prepare the most potent medicine. But even if we practice a part of the discourse of mind training. So it is just like using the leaves and the bark of the tree, medicinal tree, right, to deal with sicknesses. In other words, even partial practice of bodhicitta discourse could be very beneficial to deal with self-chasing attitude.
This girls are she the tambo, whichever does. The chever do say the Jidong, the chever the Tuzu, the Zagamira. Chever the Tomba Shagat, the Nimanga do it to Shona. Tinsangi, Tinsan Mangali, Nimmer Chubas, Simjinam, Sabu Numule me, Shagil, Ling di Sobale me, Rama do Bashin Kanayan, and Millie was you say, Lodo, Jesu, Yeranshi. Rang mato be shin sul ya lewa shung ser yang chao do ge gu nan lai xieba la su ser jie lu ga yi zi jie wa xin zong xin nu ba yi xie be se sim jin ji di ji kam wa ga de se wo ti yun de da ti That ganzu nangi ningma nga se da 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 ma ne ningme selo jeve chong se ti ke je de do se di jo ningma nga se gar se ge na simje tham ji sam yi nimu ke ya me na ji ya do be sam ya cha yi de gar ko na le khang je so so je ga thya yi de me le chong je ya so ro tin de ji si go ro sam ji nimu se cha ji di ba le me se de zan ling di je si da je da di Somebody traveled the head of the Shushu, the tea good land, and Lunga Liga Harsina, or tea good land Shazan, and could develop him, but Deja, Cheta Nimu, good land ship, and shower till the Bastigua.
No.
Cheta Chita, the Kulum Tion, and the Lega Harsina Ganga, and the Digwari over this. Roma over here, Tadi say the he was there. Here, young Millie was showing, say, Holo is. There was so Magasa Kazan narration, Jizi, or didn't Bagas that said, keyboard, what the Gishabu and the call Chado she, or she today that she said, Sumi Jesse. Luga is Jerry, him, Shinubo Shivi. Take Kazi Cotton Dordina. Luga is the Sujiva Karation, Shen, the Sosa Giashi, Tonajita, she did Cautilla. But it does Simjing, Jeva did Cautilla. In the Tata de Yang Lam Judiana. Didn't that Yagagas toast Dora?
No.
But even that Yamar said that things on Cosby, how about the corn of rest?
So we are in the middle of page 15, where it says that Shakyamuni Buddha, historical Buddha, appeared at the time of 5 degenerations. And now, today, it seems like we are living through much harder time. I know it won't come out right in English. It's like the degeneration of the degeneration time, worse kind. And how worse, as Geshe explained, that when we think in terms of the sentient beings, our thoughts and our, thinking process, much of it's all to do with afflicted way of thinking, isn't it? People are jealous of others, success, and so they, they want all the profits and gain for themselves. They want all the loss and defeat for others, and they're so self-centered that everything is to do with I, and they really don't seem to care about others at all, And so much of the thinking, as a matter of fact, is a very delusional, in the sense, afflicted way of thinking. That's like a, as we introduced, was really real craps, And then because of those attitudes and thinking as motivational factors, and our behaviors are very negative, because when we do anything out of jealousy, attachment, wanting to defeat others, all our actions become negative, karmic, actions, so in short, that all the actions of our body, speech, and mind our mental actions, our speech actions, our physical actions, are what called much of it's very negative, and also we seem to engage in all kinds of wrong rejoicings. People we don't like at all, we hate. When they have a lot of troubles and difficulties, we just rejoice them like great, which is very wrong rejoicing. And then the people we don't like, if they have success, everything is going well with them, then we really become very jealous of them, so this is how rampant afflictive way of thinking is, and how that affects our negative behavior. So at such difficult time we are going through, if we learn how to transform adverse conditions into favorable conditions, then we could survive, isn't it? All the bad things going around us or with us, we could use all of them into favorable conditions to advance our spirituality. So therefore, that kind of a technique associated with mind training or the thought transformation is very much in need today. It is a very powerful technique that help us to survive as spiritual practice. So we are still on page 15 towards the bottom, and so as we assess present conditions in which we find ourselves in, much of our thinking constitute afflictive thinking, and because of that, much of our behaviors are negative behaviors, and so because of that, so many misfortunes befall us, today, especially those of us who engage in the Dharma. We seems to face more obstacles on our way, and then we find ourselves kind of engaged, in more negativities. So if we engage in negativities, even if we ask Dharma protectors to protect us, right, they will not, because they are called Dharma protectors. If you do something good practice, then they have promised to protect us. But if we do negative things, and we still kind of propitiate them and ask them to protect us, like, they are not going to do that. They will move away to other locations where real practitioners are, to safeguard them and to protect them. And so when we find ourselves in such difficult situations, the negative forces, they delight in all the things going wrong with us, and they will create more obstacles, and more troubles for us. So at such time, of course, when we face a lot of obstacles on our way, sometimes we do tantric ritual practice, of course, through rituals, we can sometimes offer gifts to them. We're like, please go away, take this gift, and don't disturb us. And there are certain categories of negative forces, they somehow are happy with the gifts, they go away. But then there are others who are not easy to be pleased. Regardless of whatever gifts you give them, they just don't care. They just want to cause more troubles. And then we do all kinds of mantras and things to deal with them. So, the point is that we are going through such challenging and difficult times, and without the mind training practice that includes transforming adverse conditions and favorable conditions, we really could hardly survive our practice and advance in our practice. So this is kind of must practice for us at such time.
What is that? Karsa? Mendula should go to Yin Karsa Hunin Bin, Jingle you go to Troll Shaw, your day, did the Tambu, what this is dark Haji. Said the Jingle to get it that way, Ronshin, you want to use that. At the Jingle, the Gagal never couldn't do it, and should do it. Cover Maris, cover Marama. Good, never couldn't county. So that Jingle the bay shoes towards Jurkin. Jingle has it so not sad over the energy, Karsa, Kogat over Lagodo. How does she not be in Tanka? That's so the Gami ladies or the Chia Yomari. So to see her, that is the teaching I came about soon and did do the church of the share, take a tiny. You saw the good young over Tado over there, something. The God of Gomshaw to see China, and they never cut it, never behind the tour.
No.
But that Kibo to shoot down, Taziga, the Kibos in the young Madame Share.
No.
That Kibo so that the good goody is that I don't be Yawasha was in South of town. Kaji Lumagi, Shawad Karsina, the Metea Zan Mea. Kadita Bash Unicorn Sajamare. But today shows anything in the Joto. She thought that sure the young Zulu, the King in Lambu to get that the chosen did or that case shows you the word. I got you. Never Jamuri Sonso. Then never to prevent the water. She died swimming and there was a dead down Marcy. Nothing way now. And the same thought, Nasa de Shirame is the chase we are songs. Did that direction told what I want.
So what you find at the bottom of page 15 and over page 16 is this, that we find ourselves amidst such difficulties and challenges, and if we don't learn the technique to transform unfavorable conditions into favorable conditions, then all these unfavorable conditions will bring us down and will impede our spiritual practice and development. So we really have to learn how to transform them into favorable conditions. Then they can not really affect our spiritual development and practice. So that is the secret of part of this instruction. And for example, as Geshe said, let's say if we feel unwell, we can think of like, okay, this getting sick is not necessarily bad, because it could be the ripening of my something bad karma, and I experience it, I deal with it, so that I don't have to deal with much more suffering in the bad vibrations due to the same bad karma, because that bad karma could still precipitate rebirth in other conditions, or that if we how should I say, fail in our efforts. So that failure could also be taken as, maybe it's good that now I find more time to do practice, whatever the case may be, So in other words, the attitudes with which we can look at those things will make much difference, isn't it? And that will help provide us a lot of encouragement and, inspirations. So also when things go smoothly with us, we should not get carried away with excitement, things like that, or get distracted. But we say, due to the blessing of the 3 jewels and gurus that, right now I'm healthy, all things are working well, but I'll use these favorable conditions to do more practice, isn't it? If things go wrong, we don't blame on anybody. We say, well, this could be the ripening result of some bad karmas, and these karmas get purified, and so therefore it's not necessarily bad, So with that kind of a mind training, techniques to transform adverse conditions, favorable conditions, could really sustain our practice and help us to grow in our practice. So with such state of mind, under all circumstances, good or bad, we could be very at peace and relaxed, isn't it? We have more peace of mind, regardless of the external circumstances, And His Holiness once said during his teaching that what he observed was that, many Tibetan, when they fall sick, because of their Dharma mindset, at least mentally, they seem to have less anxiety and stress as compared to other people who have no Dharma. They have the same physical ailment or the difficulties, but they seem to suffer more. But somehow the Tibetans with some Dharma knowledge, their mental level anxiety is less and they're more at peace, So that's the difference,
because 2 years journey in some of them in the New York that was should do that as a sanity. Never begin to Gaga, should do that, surely are from Jin of Zero.
No.
Said the go, your dead Shabu, said that is the told Jewish heroes, Mujiba Jide Kagatella says. Then Jide comes at the Jidin and the Casa Sozola, the Jidin Seajoro. So the Sozo, Jidan Jide come here doing the Mount Cassian. So the Jengish is going to know the Ajay or Jide come doing Mongolia.
No. So on top of page 16, you find that if individual practitioners really learn well, this mind training practice, which includes transforming adverse conditions into favorable conditions, even if they live in a world full of disasters and turmoils, at least for themselves, they could be much at peace, because of being able to, take the challenges into favorable conditions, Otherwise, usually what happens is when we face obstacles and challenges, then we get bogged down by them, and then we lose our practice or we couldn't do our practice. But if we learn how to take all of those challenges into favorable conditions, then nothing can really stop us, isn't it? So even if the external world has a lot of things going wrong, but as practitioners, internally, in your inner world, you could be at peace and you find some sense of rest and relaxation,
This is the Karsa. We took when Jide can you tell us this, listen to me, whatever you last, you're to women, you share, Tonget give you he just tell us the Tonget said, and it on board that the Zuganga Tomato Tonget Dajor. Oh, and because Tonget the Tongdil said to Ganga, poor Tongju said to get a dairy. Poor Tong said, Mishenda roll by Namji Fua the Tongju. She said, roll Luval Tong Mendavo. Tina Yat, desert of Momoyora. But he said that this is it.
No, sir.
Midway Jide comes in or did Jide comes here, Jide come the now Jide come the Rawa.
No, sir.
Luzu doing a meso, but what they will tell you to a many share, that Lu the same never share that Luzu doing it, what that Lu let it never near Nasa, same doing it that is you want to your dog, me doing take your dog, the same doing a more.
No.
Did the condition? Because doing it, you did it for the same churches on it, and it could be Labja Shito, you know. Till quite dear old show that tell cigarettes. Two times they want to thing in the tower, I tell us songs. The shows somebody or the Dahin is going to do that. Two times they want no thing in the Tokyo. It also says that because doing a conversation like they move to no more doing no Yomar Sigma.
No, sir.
This is not that any pay the one by India.
No, sir. No, sir. So we're on page 16. As Geshe explained that if we learn the mind training that includes actually, through equalizing and exchanging self for others, and also transfer conditions. Then even the things that go wrong or the negativities also become more like factors to augment our practice, isn't it? Because nothing can really prevent us from our spiritual development. So if we find that kind of a bliss and peace inside us, we can call that also being in the dwelling state of happiness or bliss. The city of happiness doesn't have to be external one. It could be an internal city. The Tibetan expression is Zhongchu. The Zhong means town, city, location, and it could also refer to one's own body. And that's just to illustrate that, Geshe said, for example, when we think in terms of transference of consciousness, how it is said that some practitioner, they can leave their consciousness and enter into somebody's body if the body is available there. So this is called Chongju, right? You are kind of how should I say, going through a town or city, So like that, if we learn the techniques to transform all adverse conditions and favorable conditions, we can find real bliss and happiness, within ourselves. By saying that, we're not saying that, let's say, maybe physically you are not feeling well, and mentally, you have a lot of anxiety and stress. But if you learn the technique, at least this will help you to be able to deal with them, isn't it? We are not denying that you are, you don't have physical sickness. We are not denying that you don't have anxiety. But at least the technique helps you to be able to transform them into manageable and favorable conditions for your own, growth and practice. So through this kind of thinking, it is possible to develop a special kind of state of concentration, samadhi, called, just to be simple, called samadhi of bliss. Bodhisattvas are able to, attain that kind of samadhi state, concentration, where anything they look at, they find bliss everywhere, even in the difficult situations. So nothing seems to affect their blissful state of mind. So once you find that kind of a mindset, then, you can progress, in your spirituality. And what can stop you from that,
What because Tabe Hingle gave about so Sabawe. Nimanga do Shinang Yeje Kaka, Jungsi Benayang, so Dumba Yura, Sungbe, Tungi to Sonship Tap, Chabaju Mushini, all the shadow, steam jar. Tabi Hingles gave about the Tire, that Tahin and the Tahin Jamon Javara. So Tahin Jamon the Javor, the Tahin Yajet the Zana, and he get Tahin Simja to get Dungu, Ganga. This Sinja Tomos, she has made us Gomyama. Cheta Tritom Dena, they think Jesus or Yigilo, because that look at the shadow says, I said the washing king translation. My Zabuling to Jeroshinas.
Oh, so.
And the Shendo Shusha was Shaz Yoro.
Oh.
Shendo Shusha was Shabitsa, and there were Jay Wong Javors, the Gijamide.
Oh.
I said that there's a Mukosa, Dungema Yota, Shedo was Jayed. Sheta Ya Taking the Bay. Lam Gaden so Shuksham Zoto Maris.
Oh, so.
There the end, Mambo you those the Telia Tonzi shield the sun, and you are basic shield the Tucson, the Tungi Tucson she's. She doesn't move to the mother Bugash and the Tungi Marawa.
No.
She Diego Sotal Manu Jenny. So the King and Lam the Jorton, Tungi to the Tata Shagora.
No.
What showers?
No. So we're on page 16 still. Geshe explains that as stated there, so usually, we aspire or we pray to be reborn in a pure land. Let's say we succeed being reborn in a pure land. While there, it seems like everybody, seems to be happy, and there is no manifest pain or problems. But then it's very paradoxical because now we don't have an opportunity to cultivate compassion and such things for others because there is no manifest misery in the Pure Land. So our opportunity to accumulate more merit is less in the Pure Land. Whereas in this kind of most challenging and difficult times of 5 degenerations, if we learn how to transform adverse conditions, favorable conditions, we really have this amazing opportunity to accumulate tremendous merit, which is not even possible in the Pure Land. Okay? And if we are able to do that, even though from general point of view, we're living through such a bad time, isn't it? But from a practitioner's point of view, it is a very good time because we are able to increase so much merit, by way of taking adverse conditions into favorable conditions and generating bodhicitta for others. And that's why it is said that many bodhisattvas, when they get some kind of a premonition that they may be reborn in a Pure Land, they don't like it. They pray that may they be reborn over and again in the human world because they're able to benefit, right, others much more. If you're in a Pure Land, you can't do much to benefit others. So we will stop there today, and I hope our online teaching has been going well, and we will do our dedication. Oh, you have a question? Sure. Yeah.